We can create the conditions for every child to thrive. It's within our reach. It's in us. It's in our DNA. It's like having the loyalty, having the things that make you great already embedded in your code, in your body to do the work that we do. So we think about coming together in this collective purpose. Why we do this work, why prevention is so important, it's because it's in us. We have been called to do the work that most people shy away from. We have been called to roll up our sleeves, get in the trenches with families, listen, be a part of, empower, strengthen, connect resources. It's in us to do.
One of the things that I've enjoyed most about this conference is just the connections. We work so often separately and maybe through a screen and share via email, but to be together and to share resources together, to share ideas together, learn from one another, that's been the most fantastic thing for this weekend.
Some of the things we learned about today was the community resources that exist.
I'm here representing Greater Richmond SCAN. We work to prevent and treat child abuse and neglect in the Greater Richmond area. We also offer trauma-informed community networks throughout Virginia and trauma-informed trainings.
Early Impact Virginia is the statewide organization. It represents all of our local early childhood home visiting providers, serving over 7,000 families in all parts of the state of Virginia.
The National Safe Haven Alliance is a 501c3 nonprofit working to end infant abandonment, and we offer direct support to parents in crisis through our crisis hotline.
How we can lean into those with lived experience to really learn about how we can really connect families who are on the brink of crisis before they get to crisis. Another thing I think we've learned was this idea of empathy and compassion and really caring about our fellow man, our fellow woman, our fellow person as we do this work.
Look up father absence and you'll see a lot of resources that tell you there is no definition, true definition of father absence. However, you will find a few. This is one that I found. It's defined as a man who has no physical interaction with his children, has not provided any form of financial support for 12 consecutive months. So what was a father to you when you were coming up? Present. Protector.
Talk about the treatment and evaluation of newborns who have been exposed to medications while the woman is pregnant. We have resources for pregnant women. And then something that you all are probably more familiar with even than I is a little bit about CPS reporting laws and kind of what that process looks like postpartum for our patients. Our clinic, we believe in evidence-based treatment. We use a lot of research.
I want to thank you because there are a few lived experience leaders in this room, and I would just like to thank you all so much because you have made this recipe and it is so good. So we're excited.
Empowering Lakes leaders empowers communities.
We all ask ourselves, who are we, or where do I fall into? And for a long time I couldn't figure that out because in my head it was always, right, am I a survivor, am I a victim? And I came to realize that I'm neither, and I don't want to be, because in reality I'm a leader, a grower, a supporter, and a healer.
The most impactful thing from this conference was definitely the fact that you could look into the crowd and every single person in that room was just full of heart and love for helping other people. It's real because you get to see just all of them in one room together or in a breakout session, and they're just so informed and ready to educate you on how best to help people around you.
I see it very similar to the fact that everyone has their own story, everyone has their own why as to why they're here, but their story contributes as to why they're here. And also learning and being educated of all these different resources and opportunities for families to thrive and for children to thrive. It's absolutely fantastic.
When I was finally able to find someone that didn't give up on me, and I push you to really not give up on these kids because they're really going through something and they just need someone to believe in them.
So in support of the LGBTQ+ community, I became the parent leader of the virtual statewide LGBTQ+ Circle of Parents group, which is for parents in that community. I have created an environment for my children to grow up healthy. That's mentally, physically, and emotionally. And they know that they can talk to me about anything.
Also hospitalized out after time, taken outside. I think I was a Garford Embassy in Hollywood where...
You can't see this one. There you go. But we also thought about bubbles in terms of managing stress.
Our primaries are going to present our children with a Baka Bear. But first, they're going to still it with love. That looks like this. See, they're nice to me.
Bikers Against Child Abuse is an international nonprofit organization, and we exist to empower abused children not to be afraid. We don't charge for any of our services, and we're all NCIC federally background checked. We come alongside other professionals and advocates who are already in place to be another resource for children.
We know kids want to be back home. Sadly, I've had situations when I worked at Children's Hospital and I was there for 7 years where I literally had to testify that children, that parental rights be terminated. Not something I'm proud of. I felt like I was doing everything in my power to keep that child safe, but the reality was the separation was for their safety. But for many of those kids, they were still saying, please don't separate me.
What are these children dying from? Well, it's been pretty consistent. We have known for a pretty long time. It's so interesting. 42% for the last 3 years, and just in the last data, 42% are physical abuse at the hands of someone that was supposed to love them.
It is so wonderful being here at the Child Abuse Prevention Conference. It's been an amazing time. I love all the sharing that has happened and networking. And the point that really stood out to me the most is when they were talking about the Trees for Champions and they were talking about the number of child fatalities. That number was overwhelming. That moment was heavy. But it's the kind of heavy that we needed in order to get our attention and to also reinforce the need for the work that we do.
Trees presents to Family Matters Family Resource Center in memory of a 2-month-old who died in 2022 of blunt force trauma to the head in Bedford County.
Kid will take a tennis ball, put a slit in it. Of course, we put candy in it. Bounced it during lunch. Not one person stopped them. And that's how they deliver their drugs. Bounce it in, take the drugs out, put the money in.
Oh my God.
And bounce it back. And no teacher, nobody stopped them. So little babies that sit around that you just don't think about or pay attention to. The watch, this is a good watch. It keeps good time, but take it apart, becomes a grinder. And grind whatever, put it back on, wear it. You never know where it was or what it is.